one. So let's get started on that. Let's go.
All right. Okay, so let's start with number 5 here. Like we said, we're counting down from 25. So number 5 here, Dan Marino. He's a one-time MVP. He's a one-time Offensive Player of the Year. He was also a runner-up in the Super Bowl, right? Didn't win it, but was a runner-up. Never got back. A lot of people use that like as evidence, right? That, for example, Jared Goff got to the Super Bowl and he was young, didn't get back, right? So Dan's kind of the measuring stick there, unfortunately. He's a 3-time first-team All-Pro. He's a 3-time second-team All-Pro. He's 7th all-time in touchdowns, 7th all-time in yards. He's a 5-time passing yard leader. He's a 3-time touchdown leader, right, per season, right? 5 seasons, 3 seasons for touchdowns. Dan's an all-time talent, and I think that's kind of why he's on this list, and he's especially this high. First of all, I think he's one of the prettiest throwers of football in NFL history. I don't think that can be overlooked.
Yeah.
I think the eye test is important, and he's one of the best pure passers that we've ever seen. The release, the accuracy, the strength of his throws. Kind of similar to an Aaron Rodgers, right, where he's super talented, doesn't quite win as much as we think he could have.
Well, he doesn't win those big, important games, yeah.
Right, and so, but I will say the best 2 playoff runs he had an average pass rating of 108. So really,
okay,
he put it, he put it out there when it mattered. Right, was slightly worse in the playoffs than he was in the regular season. But the talent, like I said, is just huge. He's got a top 5 talent of all time, and he's got a top 5 regular season resume of all time. Yeah. So I think that kind of lands him here, right at the edge of this top 5. Now, maybe he's too high given the whole no Super Bowls, but it's our show. If you don't like it, just go make your own podcast and you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean he's a number 5 quarterback in our eyes.
Huh?
I mean,
how about them apples?
With the talent that he displayed, it's hard for him not to be this high on the list. I mean, yeah, the no Super Bowls thing. I mean, yeah, Aaron Rodgers has one. Like, okay.
Could you imagine being?
He's been to 2.
Could you imagine being so far and above more talented than other professional quarterbacks? Because Dan Marino was. At his time, he was so far and away more talented than any other quarterback.
And had no championships for it.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it is the Dolphins after all, and we see how dysfunctional they have been. So
their organization's been dysfunctional since him. So
right. All right, number 4, Peyton Manning. So he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's a 1-time Super Bowl MVP. He's a 5-time league MVP.
Crazy.
2-time Offensive Player of the Year. He's a 7-time first-team All-Pro. He's a 3-time second-team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler. He led the league in yards 3 times, led the league in touchdowns 4. He's 3rd all-time in yards, and he's 3rd all-time in touchdowns. So Peyton, to me,
impressive.
Also he's number 1 all-time. Now he might get passed by Brady. He's at 43. Brady's at 42. 4th quarter comebacks of all time, so kind of cranked it up when it mattered. Now his overall postseason stats weren't quite as good, but in the 4th quarter, when it mattered most, he was there, and you can't argue with the resume. 5-time MVP, that's the most in history. He's a Super Bowl champ. He's got the Super Bowl MVP checked off. Yeah, he's one of, I think there's 7 quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls. I mean, we could probably go back through and look because they're most likely all on this list. He's one of, I know it's not more than 10 guys that have won multiple Super Bowls, and he's one of those guys. And he was able to piece together enough in the playoffs. Now, he's an all-timer due to what he's done to change the game as well.
Yeah.
I think the major reason that the quarterback position is so cerebral nowadays is because of him and Brady a little bit, but I think mostly him. And he was the first quarterback to really make the position less about throwing the football and more about what you're doing pre-snap to put yourself in a good position. Right? Everyone remembers him screaming Omaha, right? All that.
I remember playing Madden 11 when he was on the Colts, and you hated playing against him because they took forever to snap the ball, right?
Because he's making all those adjustments.
Yeah. No, but he was also just such a loved quarterback too. I feel like he was one of the few guys in the league where it doesn't matter what team is your team, you always kind of had a little bit of liking for Peyton Manning. When Peyton was playing, and if it wasn't against your team, you always kind of rooted for him a little bit. Just a great guy on and off the field, and incredibly funny with that golf outing that they did.
He's fantastic.
He is so funny.
He's fantastic. All right, number 3, John Elway, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time actually runner-up, so got to 5 Super Bowls in his career. He's a 1-time Super Bowl MVP, a 1-time league MVP. He's a 3-time second-team All-Pro. Criminal, he never won a first-team All-Pro.
Wow.
Just saying it.
Yeah.
And an Offensive Player of the Year. Should have probably won a couple of those each. He's a 9-time Pro Bowler. He's 13th all-time in touchdowns, 11th all-time in yards. Now, some of those might seem a little low for him to be at 3. Here's why John is this high. He's one of the only quarterbacks that you can look at and say, wow, he damn near single-handedly turned around a not good franchise, a bad franchise. Mm-hmm. Prior to his arrival in 1983, they, as a franchise, had 23 years, previous. They made the playoffs 3 times. They only had a winning record in 7 of those 23 seasons. I mean, they were god-awful.
That's really bad.
In his first 10 seasons, he had a winning record his entire career. And in his first 10 seasons, he had a winning record especially as well. In 6 of his first 10, he made the playoffs and was making the Super Bowl by year 3. Right, so what he was able to do to turn that franchise around is why he's so high on this list. For some of you younger viewers, imagine Andrew Luck if Andrew Luck didn't retire. Right, that talent with that little to work with, especially in the early years of his career.
Yeah.
And the way he was able to turn it around and become a Super Bowl champion twice is just fantastic. Again, one of maybe 10 or 11 guys to win multiple Super Bowls. He's got the Super Bowl MVP. He's got the league MVP. He checks all the boxes going down. And then he's got the right-in portion where he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, he turned a bad franchise into a good one.
Yeah, and he was the obvious catalyst of that, too, because they're bad. He gets drafted, he goes in there, and bam, the next season, they are competing, and they are above 500 and winning football games and winning football seasons.
My number 2, Big Game Joe Montana. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He's a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. He's a 2-time league MVP. He's a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time First-Team All-Pro, 2-time Second-Team All-Pro. He's an 8-time Pro Bowl. He's 21st in yards, 19th in touchdowns, not super important. Joe was the ultimate big game quarterback, naming himself Big Name Joe. Or I don't know if he named himself, but he earned himself that name, Big Game Joe. Right, his rating for his career was like a 92 or something. His playoff rating was a 96, right, increasing when it mattered most. And then he goes on easily the greatest playoff run in NFL history, and I'm about to lay it out for you. Divisional game against the Vikings. Montana goes 17 for 24, 241 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, a pass rating of 142.5. They win 41-13. Conference Finals. Big Game Joe goes 26 for 30, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 125 pass rating. They win 30-3.
Amazing.
Super Bowl, 22 for 29, 297 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, 148 pass rating. They win in the Super Bowl 55-10.
Blowout.
For the playoffs, he went 11 touchdowns, no picks, 142 rating. They won each game by 4+ scores. I mean, that's just unheard of. That is the best run in NFL history for a quarterback. Joe Montana at number 2, and at number 1. This is going to be a quick one because there's not much to say here. I'll read you the resume, and there's not much else to say. 7-time, Tom Brady, by the way.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
7-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time league MVP, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time First Team All-Pro, 3-time Second Team All-Pro. He's a 15-time Pro Bowler. He's got the most wins, touchdowns, yards, attempts, and completions in NFL history. I don't know what else to say. He is the most winning quarterback. He is the most dedicated quarterback. He's second all-time in fourth quarter comeback wins with 42.
He'll probably surpass that this year.
Yes. The resume speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It really does. It speaks for itself. So to go over 5 through 1, we have Dan Marino at 5, Peyton Manning at 4, John Elway at 3, Joe Montana at 2, and finally Tom Brady as the best quarterback of the last 50 years in the NFL.
That rounds out the list.
And I don't think that was much of a debate.
No, it was not. But it feels good to get that list out. Numbers 1 through 5. Fantastic to go through those this week. So, guys, that is all.